Hey, it's Mike with the 61 Beetle. I have a project today that I'm working on that has to do with my fuel pump, because basically what happens is this car smells like gas a lot when especially if I drive it for a while. What I notice is that if you look here, it's hot. Normally the fuel pressure is 3 pounds, but then what'll happen is after I stop driving and it's hot, this almost seems to rise from 3 up to, look, now it's at about 6. Then what happens is I'll go inside, I'll just, be doing whatever, and I'll come back out to the car and it smells like fuel, and that's because it's pushing it a little bit out of the carbs. And I also have an issue where if I just turn the key in here, my fuel pump is pretty much hardwired to just turn on whenever the electricity is on. So like, for example, if you listen, you hear that? That's the fuel pump. And so then if I look here at the fuel pressure, car's not even on. It's at 6 pounds and it just sits there at 6 pounds and it's trying to get rid of that pressure. And if I ever want to do anything with the car, in other words, testing gauges or something when the car's not on, the fuel pump is on. So what I want to do is mount a little switch, and there may be a better way to do this, but what I did is I bought a couple of things. This is the switch that I decided I'm going to use, and it basically is a little tiny metal switch. Let's see if I can get this out, maybe with my key. So it's like just a little switch like this. It just has a little nub. It's kind of a cute little switch. And then it needs like, I think a half inch hole or something like that. And then it's metal. I didn't want to get the plastic kind that just plugs into place. So then it has an on-off little bezel here. And what I was thinking, I'm just looking for a place where I could put this. I just put this somewhere here where it's a little bit out of the way. I do have to drill a hole for that half-inch switch, and then I would just tighten it down. And then what I would do is just in the hot lead to the fuel pump, what I'll do is I'll use these, which is a little connection with a shrink wrap, and I will connect it to this switch on the inside. So let's take a look what this looks like in here. So the place where I would put this, and I have to pull this out, it's like right in here, where it's flat enough so that I can tighten down this switch, and then I would put it like there. And, there's a couple of wires there already. And I believe there's a little ridge right there, and I believe if I look at the ridge here, if I go right below this ridge here, just behind here, I think I can put that switch so that it's out of the way, the hole for that. Make sure that I'm drilling the right size hole. Probably measure this with my caliper just to make sure that I drill exactly the right size hole. So let me get started. All right, so I checked this with the caliper, and I looked at this switch here, and when I measure this here, it's half. It is half an inch, a little less than half an inch. So it needs a half an inch hole. But if I look at the drill bit that I have is 7/16, so what I'll do is I'll drill 7/16 and then I'll Dremel it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a little dent where I'm going to put this thing, and it's going to be right in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a hole right there. So for purists, don't watch, but like I said, this car smells so much like gasoline. Whenever I stop it, I need some kind of a solution to this, and this is what I'm doing. I have a lot of holes already, so don't worry, it's not the first hole. What I have to do is make it fit this thing. So I'm gonna take off the little nut and the little bezel, which is gonna go on the inside. And then that is this stuff. It has a little on-off, looks pretty good. And then this guy has to fit. So let's see if it already fits. Almost. I just need to do a little dremeling, plus there's some burrs. So give me 1 sec, I'll grab the Dremel. All right, I just need a little bit off of this in here. Just a little tiny bit. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and fit this switch in there and go ahead and try to tighten it down. Okay, I got this on and off, on, off, on, off. So on is like this. So now we're gonna take a look at my connections. The connection to the fuel pump. I think this is the fuel pump, so let's listen. Yep. So perfect. So what I can do is, since I have a spade and another connector, what I can do is on my switch, what I'll do is see if I can free these up, put also a spade and a regular on there, and then I'll see if I can connect them up. Do that. All right, so I got on this connector, I got one which is the connector, one which is the spade. And so what I can do here is connect that to this. Okay, so if I turn it off, the one question that I have is, see, now it's off. The fuel pump is off and it's got 3 pounds of pressure. But now what if I run it? And all right, so it should be running only off the fuel that's in the carb bowls right now. And I should see this pressure down and down, because there should be no pressure. So why is there pressure? This should be off. Pressure, green, going down. So that switch works. I think I have the off and the on in the wrong position. So, you know, I could turn this around. I think I'll turn it around just so that it's correct. And then I'm done with that. All right, that's the final. So, fuel pump on, fuel pump off when the key's in. So that's good. And what it looks like in here is this. So what I'll do is I'll zip tie these wires in here so that they stay nicely behind the wire cover, and then I'm done. So that is my. All right, got this assembled back together. A couple of little things poking out there, but overall I think that'll stay. And then so this all looks good under there. And I can just test one last time that my switch works for the fuel pump. So if turn the ignition on, fuel pump's on, off. So on,
and then
off.
a relationship would end.
Okay, so that works great. All right, well, that was a switch for the electric fuel pump, just so that I can relieve the pressure and turn on the ignition without always over pumping into the carb. Like I said, one time I had the fuel pump kind of overfill the carb, and I feel like it put so much fuel, and I feel like it went down the intake, and then when I started it, it did a little backfire, and I feel like maybe it even flushed a bunch of fuel into the piston because it didn't combust, obviously. So anyway, that's just my ability to control it a little bit. It would be better if the whole thing were like automated somehow. So anyway, that's my switch.